Hello everybody. I suppose I am streaming now. Okay, I'm on screen 1, Control Alt T, which is the same as hitting my T icon, although I'm a coffee person. And there's also I am odd. I guess I didn't have to turn the mug around. It's printed on both sides. Thank you, James, for that. And Terminal 1 is always not Terminal 1, I gave Screen 1 in my ribbon of screens is always a Unix or Linux style text editor. Screen 2 I usually load later, but because you have to start live streaming from a tab in your browser, I do my Control-Alt-L for Jupyter Lab as my second thing, but when I'm streaming, it's my first thing on screen 2, so I can get the streaming environment going. And then of course OBS is on my last screen, which auto-updated just now. It's free and open source software, and thank goodness free and open source software can auto-update. Things like Inkscape and GIMP, I'm always on old versions because of that. So the innovations that are done from the Apple and Microsoft store seem to slowly be percolating out into the free and open source world. Thank goodness for that. But that is not the subject of this video. I am going to start writing my book right here in front of you in real time. What book? Well, first we go to our journal directory, and then we vim journal, right? And then we do a macro to start a new entry for the day, which is just like blogging software. And I say, time to write a book. But about what? And for who, whom, I will need some editing. Okay, maybe it is. I'm my own target audience. The best way to learn is to teach. So why not teach an imaginary audience? All right. Just looking at how to do my notes here next to me, because I did prepare some notes. I won't hide some secrets from you, so I'm doing a Control- on my keyboard to make the text a little smaller. So I can put my phone right against the screen so I can see my notes as I type, right? I'm cheating. There's a lot of cheating in life. We call them shortcuts. Tips or technology. Tricks, in other words. Tricks run everything. Tech is tricks. Most tricks involve text. Do many tests to test your tech tricks. Let it flow. Your life so far has been your research for this book. I have only recently achieved the Malcolm Gladwell style. 10 years or 10K hours it takes to master a topic, field, skill, so that you can enter the flow, enter the zone, if you will, and feel good about what you do. All the difficult stuff fades into the background, and you can focus on the new difficult stuff because you have the excess capacity now to do so. In other words, you've climbed up the Maslow self-actualization pyramid of needs and have put food, clothing, shelter, belonging, community, self-satisfaction, and such behind you as a function, as a solved function of practice, experience, and muscle memory. And that's what you're trying to achieve first, as a matter of taking a deep breath just to get started. I'm 51 years old, and I'm just getting started. I now have in my muscle memory all the important parts of Linux, Python, Vim, and Git, so that I may approach almost any tech project with a secret weapon head start, so far as it appears to others. So far. Truth is, it's all tricks. I know just enough Linux. I'll put Unix in parentheses there. There's much to that story. And Unix, and I know just enough Linux. That's the main one I know just enough. My ease with Python, and shall we call it Pythonic thinking, list comprehensions, context manager, etc. There's a lot more examples like that. Is decent and on the rise. And there's much more on that. And then, of course, the other two in the picture are this Vim text editor you see me using now, which applies to everything, not the least of which is your very thinking process. When thinking becomes less abstract and more precisely rendered out to an actualized reality. Yes, I'll get a little kooky and spiritual here and there, but I'll try and keep it to a minimum for all you hyper literal, low tolerance green arrow hunters out there and spelling Nazis. Okay, so, that kind of lays out a good bit of it. I didn't talk about Git as that last piece, but that is, of course, the piece I know least. Git I know least because I'm a dumb Git. And yes, that's the onus of the word. Onus, maybe onus, I don't know. Let's check that. Check things often. O-N-U-S. Used to refer to something that's one's duty or responsibility. Origin. Maybe origin is better. Quick history lesson. I got a few things I want to get onto this post as the book takes form, but one is, yes, Unix is a double, triple entendre. 2 spelling mistakes. Triple entendre. Well, triple is just a double P. Entendre. Maybe my Vim spell checker doesn't know it because it's a French word. Yeah, I got the English spelling of the French word right, so I'll go with that. That you might think. Go back to that word and ZG it to get it in my dictionary because I tend to use that a lot. E-U-N-I, this one here, right? For example, that word there. Git is the same. Dumb Git. But Linus Torvalds may be self-deprecating, deprecating. Modest or critical about oneself, especially humorously so. That's definitely what Linus is. Shaped the spirit, the vibe of the entire Linux community. Linus Torvalds, who named Linux after himself, and Git after himself, may be self-deprecating, but is anything but a dumb Git. Likewise, Ken Thompson, T-H-O-M-P-S-O-N. We got to check that, whether there's an H in there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's an H. Who created and named Unix, right? So there's your little history lesson. There is definitely a history of funny self-deprecating names in tech. Learn it, live it, love it. I'm Levin, lovin' it. ZG, lovin' should be in my dictionary. That colon W is the right. You can see journal come up down here, right? So I'm, oftentimes hitting the escape key, going all the way to the upper left, to the most upper left. Okay, so here's the main thing you need to know about Vim. 1, type Vim in a Linux, Unix command line terminal. 2, type I have to double check it myself. To go into insert mode. These are the muscle memory things. I think in Vim, it's hard for me to just explain it. 3, type something. 4, hit the escape key. Always the most upper left key on your keyboard. The penalty is that there's this one inconvenient key you always have to reach and hit, and it's far away. It wasn't so far on the original keyboards. When Bill Joy wrote VI, which Vim is based on, the escape key on that IBM keyboard was in a much more prominent place, but then the keyboard standard layout changed, and so did the convenience of the single most typed thing. You can always remap it, but I like to use both the knowledge. It's always the most upper left key. There's very few fixed position advantages in tech. There is one of them, so take advantage of it for what it's worth. And then the other thing is muscle memory. I don't want to have to rely on key mapping, although you see me using them when I fix a spelling. When I go blah blah and then I go back and I fix a spelling, I'm hitting the Shift 2, which is the @ sign, and then an S like that after an escape, because I can't be in insert mode or it just types it, and it takes away the sadisticness of the other thing that you might do, which is left bracket S. So for me, remembering @ S, which is actually technically more keystrokes because you have to hit Shift 2 and an S, is less keystrokes than it also does the spell fixing. So when I do @ S, it actually grabs the first available word that matches. So Vim is staffed with sadistic people who make you do it the other way by doing left square bracket. Let me see what the keyboard short strokes are. Escape key, left square bracket, S, and then wow. Fix the spelling. It's not ZG, that's added to the dictionary. I'd have to remember it, but I could always check it. But I don't want to digress. I'm just going to finish this out by, after you type a few things and you hit the escape key. 5, type. I'll take out the quotes. You'll just have to understand. And the colon is going to be confusing because the colon is part of the command. :W to write or save your changes. Oh, if you just typed Vim, you should give it a file name, Vim filename.txt. And I'll put quotes around that, right? Because you need to know what part of that is the command I'm telling you to type. That way, when you do this :W, it will not prompt you for a file name. You want it to go as easy as possible. So then after you write your changes, that'll create a file named that on your hard drive, wherever you were CD'd into, probably your home directory when you were getting started. And then the last thing, 6, is you have to hit enter after the :W to make that command take. You of course have to hit the enter key. And then to quit, this is the running joke in Vim. This is what built the Tim O'Reilly empire. You type :Q, and of course the enter key to quit. Okay, and so there's that. But that was kind of like a freebie I sent in, kind of the magic spell. This is an example of the most important magic spell tricks you need to know about the Linux, Python, Vim, and Git technology. I'm going to put stack in parentheses, in quotes, because it's not really a stack, or, you know, platform, also in quotes. Because what this thing is that, you know, I should probably abbreviate to Linux Python VG. That's my preferred presentation. I'll ZG that into my dictionary. I lost my train of thought there. Okay, live. All right, we'll get on with the book here. So where do we start for the book? Because that was just an example. That was all just an example of the type of thing you'll find in my book. But where do we start? Like so many great books, we start by standing outside a hole. A rabbit hole in particular. Go read Alice? Of course. That's assumed. Everyone should read that. Not the Disney movie, read the book start to finish. But no, it's go read Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go. Return. Okay. I'd love to throw in more books, but things are about how much time, space you actually dedicate to them. And this is not, about them early on. And then less so as you proceed. And this is not about those other books. Yeah, you know, that's not even the thought there. That's going down the long path. And then less so as you proceed, ... until you encounter that extraordinary, what a strange word, it's extraordinary exception that changes the game for you. It takes as much time to recover from a relationship as you were in. To back out of a rabbit hole as it took climbing into one. Life is mostly just an open-ended adventure. If you an open-ended adventure with happenstance, events rocking and ruling your world/life. Life can be just about stopping and smelling the roses. If you like, go ask Alice. No, go watch Soul, Disney, Pixar's Soul. No, not Pixie, ZG that. You don't have to be super ambitious all the time. Some people are, you know, and then you die. Memento, M-O-M-E-N-T-O, memento mori. Go Google it. You're only given so much time, but I don't want to get to that dark stuff along the way. In fact, that's a little too dark for introducing it in the book. Along the way, you'll meet some strange birds. You'll be led down many wrong paths, rabbit holes. There's no one true path. Perfection is an illusion. Material success is a sham. Optimization is overrated. And so we seek clarity. Linux, Python, Vim, and Git. There is just so much to potentially learn. Know and master. How does one know where to begin? Well, wrong decisions can lead you far down paths that suck the love out of it. C++ and Java were two such paths for me. Luckily, I felt the love getting sucked out of it and backed out before I twisted my soul to fit the tools. Your brain will be seasoned and conditioned and otherwise altered. This is science now. Synaptic patterns. I'm not even going to try to spell it, to fit the tools. If the tool fit is poor, so will you be. And miserable too. Different strokes for different folks. No judgment. If the tools I hate are the ones you love, more power to you. You will be able to do things I can't. That's just life. And I have to accept that. I'm not going to be writing drivers and stuff that people write in C++, operating systems and such for the performance and optimization. Oh, optimization is overrated. Yeah, I already put that in there, right? I'm not particularly an optimizer, although I am a search engine optimizer. And so that final thought is, you lead your life. They'll lead theirs. Proselytization. That's the word I want. Proselytize with care. You don't know them. And so with this book, that's what I'm doing. R for replace, P, and that's what I'm doing. Proselytizing with care. Linux, Python, Vim, and Git. LPvg, and that final capital P, and save. And that's it. That's my video. That's my live video. That's the beginning of the book. I could probably go on. There's also much more that I can always talk about. This is the top of my journal of Mike Levin, the Poconos Pythonista, previously SEO in New York City. The world is your checklist, so look around, organize, visualize, prioritize, chip away. 1, 2, 3, what's step 1? Make step 1 occur. The 80-20 freaking rule. Gotta use it, it's a tool, reducing clutter that we pack into our lives that hold us back. Beginnings. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to